Our Apple tunes fall in. It is the Joe and the Jarhead Show. I am the Joe. With me, as always, is...
Jarhead! Jarhead is here. Yeah. Don't say my lines. Stick to your own.
I was responding.
I know you really want to do
that's some
oorah,
Finding
but...
Nemo classicism right there. That's shark bait.
Hold your... Okay, awesome show coming at you. We got first history article about Minnesota.
Yes.
It's going to be awesome.
Yes, Minnesotans were cool. I don't know, are they still cool?
It depends.
They elected Jesse Ventura. I'm just saying that's a pretty big strike against them.
And
but
we don't like
this
him.
One's cool.
Yes. And then we're also going to talk about Hurricane Dorian. That's coming down. And we also have to talk about the Texas shooting.
Yep.
And that's going to kind of roll into some Antifa stuff, as always. And then Germany made a big apology. We're going to talk about that.
Sweet.
And unions just got dealt a massive blow. We shall get into it.
Sweet.
Let's talk about history first.
First of all, let's talk about this pen I'm using today. So my producer is a huge Harry Potter fan. And I guess yesterday was, back to school day for Hogwarts kids? Uh-huh. Guilty smile. Gotcha. So I asked her to bring me a pen down to the set today. And this is what I get. So I guess I'm broom penning it today. All right, cool.
If it starts writing by itself, I'm going to be super impressed.
Oh, I'll shoot it. I don't deal with no possessed office supplies, honey.
You would, too.
Okay, so this week in history, 1876, back when people handled their own problems.
And the government didn't step in and ruin things?
No.
Good times.
They tried, but they were shockingly ineffective at it. So the James Younger gang, which was Jesse James and Bob Younger was their gang. 1870s, they were pretty effective robbers, or pretty effective, usually train robbers, occasionally banks. Mm-hmm. They were actually pretty decently bloodthirsty when they started.
Yeah, there's a lot of movies out about this.
Yeah, they weren't they weren't the worst, most vicious gang out there, but they weren't, they would definitely shoot people.
Yeah.
And it got to the point where the Pinkerton agency, the Pinkerton National Detective Agency, was sicked on them, and the owner, Mr. Pinkerton himself, got involved in the case because he took it as a personal insult.
Why?
His agents kept getting killed going after them.
Oh, I would be insulted too.
Yeah, I would. Mm-hmm. To the point where they burned down the James family estate. They killed his younger brother. I think they blew the arm off, I think, his aunt or somebody.
Pinkerton? These guys? Oh, wow.
Yeah, they were pretty vicious trying to bring these guys out into the open to fight. And it didn't work. So from 1874 to 1876, 2 years, the Pinkertons were chasing these guys. Could not catch them.
Jeez.
Then the James Younger gang decided to rob a bank, daylight robbery, in Northfield, Minnesota.
Okay.
Yeah, that was not a good idea.
Don't mess with Minnesotians.
Do not mess with 1870s Minnesotans. And these are combat veterans. James, Frank, a bunch of the younger guys, they were Confederate veterans. They rode with Quantrell's guerrillas. They were hardened fighters. Yeah, they weren't ready. So the citizens of Northfield, rather than calling the marshal or sending for the Pinkertons or any of that, they just surrounded the bank, and as the James gang came out, they shot them down, every single one of them. Well, almost every one of them. Jesse James was, I think he was the only one to escape without being wounded. Frank was shot. A bunch of the others were killed. And then, if not in the initial gunfight, then in the 4-day chase by a civilian posse.
Wow.
So this wasn't the law. This wasn't the government. This was the citizens of Northfield defending themselves, defending each other, and defending their property. He wasn't robbing like a mob bank. Mm-hmm. He was taking the citizens of Northfield's money. This Jesse James, no matter what stories you hear, Jesse James was not Robin Hood. He was not that guy. He was a guerrilla fighter. He was not a vigilante. Well, he considered himself a vigilante. He was a killer. He was a thief. So, yeah, forget that hero stuff. So, I don't know. If I was going to plan a robbery, I would probably do my research first. And I probably would not choose to rob a bank on the opening day of Minnesota's hunting season when literally everyone has a gun close at hand. They probably could have thought that through better. But that is what happens when you have an armed populace and you don't have this massive government intervention telling people they're not allowed to defend themselves because that's the law's job. People take care of their own problems.
Yeah.
They protect each other.
So to wrap it up, the government agency spent 2 years chasing these people.
And committed just atrocities against civilians in the process.
But then you get the civilians to take care of it. It only took them 4 days.
Technically, it took them like 15 minutes because Jesse James had to go back to Missouri to rebuild his gang after that one gunfight.
I approve of that in so many ways.
Right? What do we got next? You want to keep going or you want to...
No, yeah, let's talk about Hurricane Dorian, shall we?
Oh, let's.
We shall, because it is now a Category 5 and it is pummeling the heck out of the Bahamas. I was not aware, but it's actually just tied the record for the most heinous hurricane ever to hit those islands.
Really?
Yeah, since 1935. And back then we didn't name hurricanes, so I don't have a name for it. But yeah, it's bad.
Wow.
Yeah, the winds are up towards 200 miles per hour.
Whoa.
How does anything survive under that?
Our military base on Guam, they have cinder block houses with 2-inch thick glass windows and steel storm shutters that bolt on over top of it. I actually had a buddy who lived there, and he's like, why do we put on storm shutters? These windows could handle 200-mile-an-hour winds. Yeah, but they can't handle even like 100-mile-an-hour coconut.
Right?
So unless they have like reinforced concrete buildings there like we do on our military housing, it does not surprise me that this place is getting its teeth kicked in.
Well, the Bahamas are kind of hurricane savvy, so they are prepped. They have a lot of buildings built just that way, but like your power lines and such, they're still getting torn down.
How are they not buried? How have they not learned to bury their power lines by now?
Eventually they got to get there, you would think.
I'm just saying.
But what I like so far there hasn't been any deaths coming out of the Bahamas.
Nice.
It's just happened, so stand by for that. There probably will be when something that bad tears through small islands, but as of now, nothing.
Good.
But it is making its way up to the United States.
Up to Florida.
So now my question is, considering our articles last week, when are we going to drop a bomb into the middle of this hurricane? Come on, man. It's prime, where everybody's talking about hurricanes coming, the biggest hurricane ever.
Oh,
come on.
I don't think. I think we missed our window because now we'd just be nuking the Bahamas. and so far, knock on wood, there's 0 deaths. You go from 0% casualties to 100% casualties.
Right.
Because we decided to nuke our hurricane.
Nuke everybody.
Oh, gosh.
So I don't know. I'm hoping we kind of reinvigorate that conversation. That would be fun.
Did you see the CNN map yesterday?
Of the hurricane?
It was a it was a picture of a television shot. So like it was someone taking a picture of the television screen, which leads me to believe it was not faked. But it was like the path of the hurricane, and it was mandatory evacuation for these counties in Georgia, and then next to Georgia was Mississippi.
What?
No. Yeah, next to Georgia's Alabama.
Yeah,
and then Mississippi. So, yeah. Geography lessons are evidently needed at CNN.
To the Cartoon News Network.
Right.
Okay. So yeah, there's already been evacuations. So because America's awesome, Florida, Georgia, South Carolina, they've already had some evacuations, so they're getting prepped for it. So that's awesome. What I don't like about this is that FEMA is already getting prepared for this. I like the idea behind FEMA that our government cares so much that they want to be ready for something like this.
Of course.
But when FEMA gets in, we've learned our lesson. FEMA makes everything worse.
They really do.
And they get people hooked on or addicted to the free stuff.
Right.
And it...
Yeah.
Yeah.
And their logistics train is abysmal. Like, I guarantee you there'll be churches there who have aid in place being handed out to survivors days before FEMA shows up.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And doing a lot better job of it before they come in and screw everything up.
True statement.
Yes. Yeah, it's just like we were talking about in Minnesota. I think that the citizens and the churches do a lot better logistically and getting everything organized than FEMA can when the government tries to come in and takes that away from everybody.
Right. Right.
No bueno. Okay, enough of that.
Yes.
Oh, we got to talk about shooting now. In Texas again.
In Texas again.
What's going on in Texas?
Texas, guy got fired from his truck driving job.
Okay.
Not sure much more than that. Several news agencies released his name. I will not. We don't do that here.
Scumbags.
No. And evidently he just jumped in his car, drove around, started shooting at people. It started with a traffic stop. Cops pulled him over, and evidently he just sprayed them. And I don't think any of them died. There were several wounded. There's 20. At this point, there's 22 people injured and 5 dead.
Where was this at?
This was it ended in Odessa, Texas, when the police finally smoke checked this dude. But what he did is he drove off in his car, ditched that, killed a postal worker, hijacked her mail van, and just went around spraying people.
This dude's on a murder spree in a mail van.
Mm-hmm.
It's like a Hollywood movie gone wrong right there.
One of the ones that was wounded was a 17-month-old girl.
Oh, no.
She is expected to make a full recovery.
Awesome.
Yes, sir. Not. The police says like 15 different crime scenes. No motive has been established yet, but it doesn't appear that the shooter had any terrorist supportings. And of course, I expect the media to be making a huge deal that this was an AR-type weapon.
A military-style assault weapon.
Right.
He wasn't at any one place. He was just driving around.
Just driving around shooting at people. And then I guess he drove to a movie theater, and that's where the police were like, no.
Caught up with him.
They took him down, yeah.
Okay, next up is the Germany apology. So, we're coming up on 80 years. World War II.
Oh, 80, yep.
80 years.
Mm-hmm.
So the Germans first attacked Poland September 1st, 1939. That's when...
That's what finally triggered the open conflict with Britain and France.
Mm-hmm.
But they'd been annexing. They already annexed the Sudetenland. They already annexed Czechoslovakia. They also already annexed Austria. Like, they'd been just like slowly gobbling up territory for years, since I want to say 37, 36. Poland actually had alliances with Britain and France. I mean, they could see the writing on the wall. They knew it was coming.
Mm-hmm.
And when Germany finally attacked them, that was it.
That was it.
But
yep.
by then, the Brits and the French really hadn't done a whole lot to prepare their militaries. So Germany has this tested, battle-hardened, Wehrmacht that just steamrolled Poland. And the Brits and the French tried to go up against them, and they got their friggin' butts handed to them at Dunkirk. France fell within months. I mean...
Yeah, they were ready. I mean,
it's
like you said, they've been going at it for a couple years already.
Yeah.
But coming back to this, and I'm
That's
glad...
what appeasement gets you, by the way. When you don't stand up to people.
Well, speaking of that, we're going to get to that in a
Okay.
second, because I applaud your use of the word annexing, because I like how that's our thing today. In today's society, we just annex, we don't conquer anymore.
Right.
So we're going to get to that, because it was the German's president, Frank-Walter Steinmeier, who actually apologized to Poland for what happened. And I was scared about that, because I immediately had flashbacks to Obama's
World apology tour.
Yeah. So this wasn't that in that manner. He wasn't trying to, make friends. There was a big shindig, right? It was a big ceremony going on. There was a lot of world leaders there. Our vice president, Mike Pence, was there. Vladimir Putin was there. So I applaud what he was trying to do. He was just saying, we're still sorry. It still sucked. However, Poland, it's a nationalist economy now, and they are still crying for reparations.
Wow.
Yeah, 80 years later. Now, 2010 was actually when the reparations stopped, when Germany stopped paying Poland for everything that they did to Poland. So they had paid for, 70 years they were paying reparations.
Jeez.
So I think Germany's good. They paid their dues. They're a lot better country now. They do a lot of good, especially with Europe's falling economy over there.
Yeah, they pretty much single-handedly hold up the EU.
Yes, they do. Crying for more reparations just reminds me a lot of our democratic socialists here in America that just want to hand out free stuff. It's not going to work. It's only going to make it worse.
It's not just handing out free stuff. It's handing out other people's money to people who have never been a part of what you're paying them for. Like, I get it, Poland, it sucks. Because you were invaded by Germany, oppressed by Germany, and then sold out to be a Soviet satellite country for 50 years. That sucks. It really does. But you're free now. You can do whatever you want.
Yes. And if I were you, I would take what reparations you have and be good. Because you start asking for more, then you're going to be tied to Germany more. And
right?
You don't want that.
No.
And then,
no,
man, it just never stops.
On that.
But what I love about this is the Polish president actually called out Putin. Who actually
excellent.
After he did that, Putin stopped participating in the ceremony because they had a little bell that everybody would go ring after they gave their little speech, and Putin refused to ring the bell. Pretty awesome. But excellent. Because he was talking about annexing, right? Because that's what Putin is up to.
Oh.
Annexing. What he's done in Ukraine and Georgia, annex parts of those countries.
No, he was protecting ethnic Russians, I believe.
Is that? Wow.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's annexing.
I think you threw up in your mouth a little bit when you said that.
Yeah, I did. Right, got to right about here. Yes.
Yeah. So, I mean, the Polish president, I mean, he can see what happened because it's exactly what happened to his country prior to getting slaughtered, right?
Yeah. I guarantee you he's sweating right now because being a Soviet satellite for 50 years, there are probably still some ethnic Russians living in Poland. That's all the excuse Vladimir Putin needs.
I would be very afraid, and I'm glad that this happened, and I'm glad that all these people got together because lately the rest of the world has always been, oh, well, I'm just going to refuse to shake your hand, Putin, after you slaughtered all these people in Ukraine and took Crimea from them.
Right.
That's all we do.
Yeah.
It's not okay what we're allowing to be done in Russia.
We're not going to make any overt acts of friendship, you bully.
That'll
and it sucks
you.
that you murdered people.
Shot down an entire plane.
Right.
Okay, enough of them. Oh, let's talk about Antifa.
Oh, let's talk about a Marine. And
well, I love that. Let's do that.
You don't. You really don't. Because this is a prior service Marine. There's no such thing as an ex-Marine. Once a Marine, always a Marine, correct?
Hoorah.
All right. So this is a prior service Marine. Actually, no, this one's an ex-Marine. He's an idiot. He's an idiot.
He really is.
He is. So this is in Oregon, where there are red flag laws. And this Marine just had to surrender 5 of his guns. No charges pressed against him at all. So he's a 2-tour veteran of Iraq. And he was quoted at a public demonstration outside the Portland mayor's office, or outside of Portland mayor's home. So, yeah, he says, and I quote, "If Antifa gets to the point where they start killing us, I'm going to kill them next. I'd slaughter them, and I have a detailed plan on how I would wipe out Antifa."
He did, too.
He said that out loud on camera. Naturally, that sounds kind of aggressive. You are allowed to do that, I guess. That does fall under the First Amendment. It's not inciting to violence. He's not calling for violent action. He's saying that he would do so in self-defense. If they get to the point where they start killing us, implying that Antifa acts first, he would kill them, and he already has a plan on how he would do it.
Okay.
There is no incitement to violence there. There is no call to violence there. That's simply him stating his intended goal if he is attacked. But dude, you are an idiot. Why would you say that in public in a state that you know has red flag laws?
Because they did take his guns.
They
right?
took his guns. He was not charged with a crime, but he did have 5 guns, including an AR-15 that he had to surrender. And he's committed to a veterans hospital for 20 days and barred from participating in subsequent protests in Portland. That I have a problem with.
Why?
Because he said something stupid in public that wasn't a crime, and you're going to ban him from participation in his First Amendment rights? I do not like what this guy's saying. I do not like it at all. I think it's stupid. I think he spoke rashly, and I think he spoke... I think he's an idiot. But he's an idiot with the same First Amendment rights that everyone else has. And now you're restricting those rights because he said something stupid. No, I can't get behind that, man.
But at what point does he cross that line? Because an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. So he went to the mayor's home, like you said, and he said those statements out loud in front of cameras. He knew what he was doing. He saw the cameras there.
Right.
He knew where he was at. And before he even did that, he sent a 5-page letter to a congressman, Dan Crenshaw, saying, I want your help with this. Here's my 5-page plan.
Right, to have Antifa declared a terrorist organization.
And he said, and this is how we're going to slaughter them. And this is my detailed plan of how we're going to butcher them all. So at what point do we step in and say, you're too crazy, we need to send you to a VA hospital to get you some psychological help?
No, you never send anyone to a VA hospital. That is not going to help that, man.
Oh, so true. But at what point do we need to step in? Because you don't think he crossed any lines that he needed his guns taken away or sent to a psych to get some psychiatric.
No, I do. I do think that he did need evaluation, but I do think you still need due process before you take someone's guns away. He did not commit a crime. He has not been charged with a crime. If he sent this detailed plan to Representative Crenshaw, then okay, where was the crime in that? If it was not a federal crime to do that, why did his guns get taken away? If it was a federal crime, why wasn't he charged with it? I'm just saying there has to be, the tie has to go to the runner. If he is not openly calling, I want us to all get together and slaughter Antifa, starting now, that's a call to violence. That is incitement to riot. That is clearly not covered under the First Amendment. My right to swing my fist ends where your nose starts. No one was harmed in this.
But he is inciting violence. He is calling for violence.
He is calling for violence as a response to a first strike by Antifa. He is calling for defensive action. I don't like it. Let me be perfectly clear about this. I think this dude is an idiot. I do not support his plan. But I have to come down on the side of the First Amendment. I have to come down on the side of liberty on this. Even if I don't like what the guy's saying, he still has a right to say it.
I disagree, Joe.
I know.
I think that you're going to wait so long, you're waiting for a crime to actually be committed, and you know what that crime's going to be? With a kid as crazy as that? You know what's going to happen. You know what his next move is. When somebody has taken that many overt steps, he only has one step left, and you're going to let people die. No, he showed up at a mayor's home in front of cameras and said that. He sent a letter to a congressman. He's taken too many overt steps. It's time for us to step in. I believe that he did commit crimes. I believe that he did incite violence. I don't care if it's defensive or offensive or what, and I don't want any runners getting any tie. He committed a crime. We need to step in and get him help. I don't support red flag laws. I believe they are unconstitutional, but I believe when a crime has been committed, he needs psychiatric help, and we need to step in and be like, okay, we're going to hold on to your guns for a little bit until you prove that you deserve these back. We're not going to confiscate them under red flag laws, but if you committed a crime where we know you're going to use these, then we're going to hold on to them for a bit.
So maybe, let me make sure I'm on here. So change the existing laws so that what he said does constitute incitement to violence? Because, I get that you think he committed a crime, but legally, on the books, there's nothing they can charge him with. He has not legally committed a crime. Now, if you want to say that what he said constitutes, this is incitement to violence, and he is showing that he is a danger, I am 100% on board with that. I agree. I think he is dangerous. I think you were right. He only has one step left. So my thought is the solution to that is probably to have the laws altered so that owning that you have a plan or stating that you have a plan to do this does constitute a crime, does constitute an incitement to violence, or I don't know what you could charge people with for saying stuff like that, because I can see this whole can of worms getting opened up over that. Some dude yells at a bar, dude, I'm going to kill you, because he's drunk. Do we take his guns away?
Right.
This is where it gets really murky.
And I'm on board with you there, Joe, because I get it. Because now we're just splitting hairs of what did he actually say, and did he mean it, and
how
this
do you
letter,
prove intent and all that stuff.
But when a kid like this, I'm saying if it was I don't know. Again, I don't want to sound like I'm splitting hairs, but if he did just go to the mayor's house, or if he just did send a letter to a congressman, but he's done more than that, and there's probably more than that we're not aware of, right?
Yeah.
So when you're taking that many steps, it's time to step in. If it was just one or the other, okay, it's just crazy. But again, I don't want to sound like
I wouldn't even have a problem with red flag laws if they had a built-in sunset. Like, if after, 21 days, 3 weeks, just throwing out a number, if after 3 weeks, they can't prove that you are still a danger, they have to give you your guns back. Period. But I'll be the first to say I don't know what Oregon's red flag laws, but I don't believe they have a sunset. I don't believe that, like, this guy has to prove that he's worth getting his guns back. I think the tie should go to the runner. They have to prove that they still have the legal justification for keeping your guns, or they have to give them back.
I agree. Yes, I'm on board with that. So,
blah.
Yeah, it's a sucky situation all the way around, but we've got to protect ourselves, and we have to protect his rights at the same time. All right, moving on. We beat that topic to death.
Yes, sir.
Oh my goodness, we have a great one now.
What do we got?
Let's talk about unions getting beat up.
Okay.
Okay, so let's be upfront about this. I believe that in America there is a time and a place for unions.
Correct. And that time and place is never in the public sector, at least as far as me. I do not believe in public sector unions.
Okay.
I do not.
Pause there. I want to come first circle back to that. But first,
all right.
So the Supreme Court just made a ruling that you can no longer be obligated to pay union dues.
Wow. That is amazing. I've worked for 2 unions in my life, and both times their dues were taken out of my paycheck before I even got paid.
You didn't even get a choice.
I never had a choice. That was absolute government intervention in public sector.
I'm connecting the dots now because you were a teacher in California, so you were under their union?
And I was a corrections officer, and I was under their union.
You poor soul.
Yeah.
Wow. Because one of the cases, because this actually went to the Supreme Court in 2012, 2014, and 2016. That 2016 case was a lady actually going against the California Teachers Union because they're taking your guys' money
luck
and paying it to whatever political party they want, right?
Yeah.
That's how unions work. So this last vote, it did finally go in the way of the Constitution. So they voted 5-4. You can no longer collect from non-members. So people who want to be a part of a union, you can no longer take their money like they did to Joe's paycheck.
Yep.
Win-win.
If you want to be part of a union, there are unions out where we work.
Yes, there is.
Fine. Do it. Absolutely. If you believe that collective bargaining and collective representation is what's in your best interests to get you what you want, to get you, better pay, better benefits, whatever, do it. But it shouldn't be obligatory. It shouldn't be required.
You're absolutely
Otherwise,
right.
Where's the freedom? Where's the freedom of choice, the freedom of conscience?
Yep. And to all your unions out there, which, fun fact, only 11% of all American workers actually fall under a union.
Really?
I thought it would be a lot higher than that.
Yeah, so did I.
Because there's actually 22 states that actually require it, that are not right-to-work states.
Really?
So if you belong to a union, you have to pay. But after World War II, it was 35%. It just slowly declined after that. This has been in place. This ruling of forcing people to pay unions' dues has been in effect since 1977.
Good heck.
So, yes. Long time coming.
42 years.
What I don't like about this is that they've kind of split hairs here a little. They're saying, okay, well, you still might have to pay dues if the state requires it, but they can't take your money and go give it to a political party. So how are they going to measure that? Yeah, so if you still want the representation and the legal help, you have to pay the dues, or you can be forced to pay that. But they can't just take any of that money and donate it to a political party.
So this is a nothing burger because money is fungible.
Exactly. How are you going to track that?
You can't. Planned Parenthood can't use freaking any federal money to pay for abortions. Okay, well, we'll use federal money for all our operating costs, and all our private donations go to abortions. So in a union, we can't force you to pay dues, but they can.
Yeah.
Force you to pay dues.
If the
federal government can't force you to pay dues, but your state can force you to pay dues. Okay, well, California, no value added there.
Yep, could have been a lot better, but I still think it's a win. A move in the right direction.
Yep.
Okay.
Can I talk about terrorists now?
Oh, we're talking about terrorists.
Yeah.
Okay, let's do it.
The 5 masterminds behind 9/11
Oh, yes!
are finally going to have their day in court.
Hang on, 9/11 of 2001.
Correct.
It's 2019?
Yes, it is.
Okay. 18 years later.
Yep.
Okay.
So,
carry on.
Yeah. These, at least, and I'm not going to say any names. I refuse. I abjectly refuse. These folks confessed to the FBI in 2007 their involvement. And the Army colonel in charge of the investigation, in charge of prosecuting them, suppressed that because Obama wanted to give more time for due process.
This was 2007, brother.
Yeah.
It had been 6 years.
Already.
How much more time do you need?
I don't.
Exactly.
Anyway, it then went over to a Marine Corps colonel who was like, yeah, screw that.
Hoorah! Go
Yeah.
Marines!
And now it can be, their confessions, I guess, can be admitted. So they're going in front of an entirely new judge, and they are facing the death penalty.
They better.
Couldn't have happened to a nicer bunch of guys.
Mm-hmm. How many of them are there?
5.
5 of them, right?
Mm-hmm.
Huh. Why? I don't understand how this took so long.
I don't understand.
They should have, put in front of a firing squad.
And this is down in Guantanamo. This is in Gitmo. So, it's they are not living in cages down there. The facility in Guantanamo is state of the art. They have their own chef.
Do they really?
They have their own chef who cooks them halal meals.
Interesting.
This is the same Guantanamo that President Obama promised to close.
How'd that work out for you?
Yeah, not well.
So for 18 years, we've been paying to keep these guys alive, sheltered, fed with their own chef.
Yep.
With our tax-paying money.
Yep.
I have a lot of things to say about that. I don't think I'll say anything.
Yeah.
I better not.
Yeah.
Spork!
Spork.
Don't ruin my new spork! All right, sorry.
You can do whatever you want about spork.
I love it. It's got a knife in it.
It does.
Okay. I don't think I should talk about that anymore.
Okay.
I'm getting a little excited.
Hey, red flag. I'll take your guns away.
No, you. I'm concerned. Jarhead was stabbing our table with a spork. All right.
I think it's time to call it.
Yeah, we better wrap this up.
Oh, good heck.
Thanks for joining us, Platoon. We love you guys.
We do. You're the best audience on the internet. We love you guys. Platoon dismissed.
Semper Fi. Did you really just use?
I really did. I used my pen.
Your
This looks
broom
like
style.
a giant gnarly blow dart, doesn't it? Like I should stick this in a chunk of PVC pipe and see what I can get it to stick in. I love it. He's a Marine. If you gave him a spork, he would be dangerous. Cue the spork.
We have sporks on set. Oh, it's so awesome. Thank you, Joe, for that gift. I will cherish it forever.